Good evening. I'd like to call the City of Mount Vernon City Council meeting for February 12, 2020 to order. The time is now 7:01. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are here to provide professional and efficient services to create a lifetime positive difference for our community. Item C is our roll call of council members. I'll ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilmember Beaton.
Here.
Councilmember Brocksmith. Here. Councilmember Correas.
Here.
Councilmember Hudson. Here. Councilmember Holst.
Here.
Councilmember Moberg.
Is it excused this evening?
Councilmember Molinar. Here.
All right, thank you. Under consent agenda, we have items A, B, C, and D.
I move approval of our consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Mary and a second by Mark. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Under reports tonight, first up is our Public Works and Library Committee report. Councilmember Molinar.
Okay, we opened up the Public Works Committee tonight at 6 o'clock. After the approval of the January 8th meeting minutes, we moved into a discussion from Chris Bell was with us, and Bell and Associates, and he gave us a very detailed report on the completed solid waste rate study. We are looking at some increases so they will catch up with services provided. We are also looking at getting rid of the 20-gallon containers and moving most of our town into the 35-gallon. Some of these rate adjustments will probably start in June. There's also been a 45-cent fee involved to help pay for a possible new solid waste building. Then we had city staff and consultants have prepared the design and bid package for the planned upgrades of the administration building at the water treatment plant. Improvements are planned to be constructed this year, and staff is ready to advertise the project for construction bids. Currently, it's looking at a $1.1 million addition, and this addition is pretty much already funded. Then we talked about the Traffic Safety Committee, which will be meeting on Tuesday, February 18th. And then for the good of the order, Mayor Boudreau gave us a little tiny report on our permanent supportive housing and how that's going. There's maybe it's not such great news as far as some of the grant funding that we were looking forward to. And we closed the meeting at 6:56.
Okay, thank you. Our Public Safety Committee report, we're going to postpone out to the February 26th agenda item since Councilmember Moger is not able to be here tonight. So item B is our community comments. This is the time, if you're here, you're welcome to step forward to address the council. You're welcome to step to the podium. If you please state your name, your city of residence, and limit your comments to about 3 minutes. Would anyone like to go ahead?
Hello, I'm Jalissa Helms, and I live at 1901 Amer Street here in Mount Vernon. I am concerned with the way things are heading with Mount Vernon becoming a smart city. Have we forgotten health risks associated with cell phones, smart devices, microwaves? The smart meters or advanced meters that the utility companies are bringing in are much more dangerous. 5G, the next generation for cell phones, is much more dangerous. These frequencies are killing the bees, the birds, and harming so much more in its path. It does not segregate. Ms. Mayor, your office is approximately 450 feet away from the old water tower that is leased to cellular companies. I am concerned for you and everyone and everything nearby. I first brought this to your attention last year on June 28, 2019 at your Coffee with the Mayor event at the fire station on LaVenture. You told me that your hands were tied at the city level because of the laws put in place by the FCC and Trump administration. I brought this up again at your last Civic Saturday event on February 8th, and you said the same thing. But what you failed to mention is that you were featured at Smart Cities Conference in Silicon Valley May 7th, 2018, as leading the way for smart city technology. Your hands are not tied. I see you, Miss Mayor, all the work you do bringing this community together, the Mayor's Wellness Challenge, working with the police force. You have always had my vote because I know that you care. Hold tight to your convictions. You can make a difference. There are cities out there that are banning this technology, not just cities, states, and countries, because they cannot prove that it's safe. There are ways around this, and if anyone can find a way around, I know it's you. Thank you.
I will correct the record that what I was speaking at was advocating for municipal broadband. It happened to be at a Smart Cities conference. So we were fighting back against the FCC and their regulations trying to ban municipal broadband. But I appreciate your thoughts on health about 5G and a different subject. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Calla Susort. I'm a resident of Mount Vernon. My concern is 5G as well. Has Mount Vernon signed off on them allowing 5G into this town?
There is no permitting that has been submitted to the city to deploy 5G in the city.
So what about the county?
I don't know. You'd have to ask.
You don't know
Skagit
that?
County.
Okay. All right, so that's good. I understand it that the attorneys are coming around two small towns all throughout the United States from Verizon and different companies that are pushing 5G. They tell you all the wonderful things that they do with the high speed, and 4G gives us plenty of speed. I've worked for the phone company my entire life. Not the cellular, but I did the other. So I've been very involved with phone service for many, many years. But my concern is what they don't tell you. They don't tell you the contraindicators where 5G is a weapon of war. They have used it in war times. It kills people with radiation. It causes all kinds of other very serious issues, and it's going through us at all times. We've got kids, grandkids, animals, living beings that we need to be concerned with. And I would please urge the council to look on YouTube or any information you can on 5G. It brings up a whole slew of information on the downsides of it. It's a very serious issue. As with smart meters, they start fires in houses because they can put a power surge through as well. So this technology is not such a good thing for us. And it does wonderful things, but we're pretty good with a 4G. And 4G can even cause damage, I found out, which I was shocked by because I've got a 4G phone myself. So, and I hope not to have to go to a 5G. A friend of mine was going to get a telephone pole put right at her house in Burien, Washington, and she went down to her city council and fought it, and they blocked it from happening there in Burien. It would have been right at her house, above her home. It's also very invasive. There's surveillance done. There's all kinds of things done through 5G. And I just would urge you, please, to get information if they come to approach you and try to slip this in. Just as they tried to steal the water from the Skagit River many years ago for the bottling company. And one female attorney in Anacortes beat that one out too, to protect our natural resources. So I just think it's very important just to be fully educated before you make a decision. Please think about our kids, grandkids, and those coming in future years, that we really want to be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Oh, and can I get, so you don't have any dates of anybody coming here to try to bring this in?
We have no permit applications at this time, and it's been a year and a half since we've heard from the telecom company.
Okay,
I
and
can
will
tell
you notify the public of this?
It would be on a public, it would be a council action on any codes around permitting of that.
So how
it
does
would
the
be-
community find out?
It would be published as an agenda item for the community.
So we find that on the internet?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. MountVernonWatt.gov, you can sign up for notifications of the agenda items.
Oh, okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Derek Condit. I'm a resident of Darrington, Washington, but a local business owner. And I'm also an internationally known organic beekeeper. And I'm here to speak about 5G as well and the harm it's done toward the bees. Because we're known internationally, what we're known for is working out ways of helping against colony collapse disorder, which is the loss of bees. But we don't have a fix for that with the frequencies. And unfortunately, 5G has made this problem worse. The studies have been done worldwide regarding the bees and frequencies, be it 5G or cell phone signals or Wi-Fi. And across the board, the facts show that they harm the bees. And if we harm the bees, we harm ourselves. We can actually thank a bee for a third of the food we eat as humans. So it's very important, and again, we're known for our organic and non-chemical treatment practices on our beehives, but that has no effect. We've actually had local losses on our colonies due to frequencies. So I just want to bring that to your attention and let you know that it is an issue, and it's known worldwide for that, and not just the bees, but humans as well. And then we were looking at possibly expanding our organic and, again, known bee practices here locally, but with 5G potentially coming, we're having to take a second look at that. So I just wanted to let that be known, and hopefully you keep us updated on the happenings like you'd mentioned on the website regarding 5G's expansion. Thank you.
Evening. My name is Kim Donato. I was recently released from prison Saturday this past week. The reason why I'm coming to speak in front of the council is I'm a bit concerned about the parking ordinance that's being modified regarding the Broad Street north and south sides near the Burlington Railroad tracks. And the reason why is I understand business owners have a concern over the homeless, people being in places where they might obstruct traffic or create an apprehension of fear in individuals wishing to solicit the business or just being able to park. But at the same point in time, there's a population in this county that needs a place to park, and some of them have found this to be a place where they're as out of the way as possible while trying to maintain the cleanliness of the area, which they generally trying to clean up, keep it clean as much as possible. This is a copy of an email that I had sent to all of you. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to send it till just today because I didn't find out about the meeting. And basically it speaks about the Martin versus City of Boise ruling, which is addressing homelessness and not being able to have a shelter spot. But what it also was speaking about was arranging protests, for example, of having individuals having to move their vehicles because of the new ordinance, park at various officials' residences to demonstrate the fact that they have to go somewhere. And I thought about it, and I also talked to Mr. Donovan, and I understand that you're in a difficult position. You have business people, you have citizens, you have individuals, and you also have the homeless to worry about, and then you also have funding that doesn't appear when you expect it to be provided so you can address the issues. But the other thing is also I've worked in business before, so this is an example of some of the work I've done. For example, moss removal, and I did it at the time as an under the table business because I didn't have the ability to get licensed and comply with all the labor laws at the time. But I also found that at times I was working with slumlords, which exacerbate the homelessness problem because they take advantage of people. So, long story short, I'm getting into the idea of taking the classes that I need to understand all the licensing and business requirements, working with retired business owners through SCORE, as well as, and I'll cover my social security number because file taxes, so it can help the public be able to have the funding that can take care of these issues. But I noticed tonight that 2 of the signs were already posted before the ordinance was passed. And to me, that could be construed as the fact that the city's already decided that it's going to pass. And to me, it deters people from speaking on it because they see it, and some people that aren't as informed as I may be say that, well, they've already put the signs up, so what's the use of speaking on it? That's the reason why I'm here tonight, is that I understand that there have been attempts to maybe place them at the county fairgrounds or other places, but there's liability issues that the county doesn't want to accept. But at the same point in time, there may be a way to do this. I'll give you an example. The Department of Corrections pays for housing for certain individuals released from prison. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of them. But they don't lease the room themselves. If I was eligible, would sign an agreement to rent the room. DOC would pay it on my behalf, such as a mother might pay for their son or their child to live somewhere, but not be obligated for the damages to the property. It might be possible to lease a private property or a county lot to a nonprofit organization who would then accept responsibility for the lot itself. Similar instances are where places like Costco and Safeway have donated food to a food bank to isolate themselves from the possibility of suits should they possibly pass along some food that's not exactly healthy. This might be a solution that the council could take a look at and would offer a solution for everybody where everybody can win. And at some point in time, I will be a successful business owner because I've done successful work in the past, and I understand that business owners are, well, they're worried about their future because it's their life. It's not them working for someone else. It's them working for their own. And as a business owner knows, the limited liability company doesn't immunize you from anything other than outside liability. You're still liable for all the debts and loans you take because you have to sign a personal guarantee until you're big enough to avoid that issue. So I'd just like the council to consider that, and maybe we could find some type of way of modifying the ordinance such that a person can be permitted, provided they're not problematic, to park their vehicle there. And if they are problematic, there's ordinances I'm sure that the city could use to enforce proper behavior. Thank you.
Thank you, Gun. All right, any other community comments?
I'm sorry, first time.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We're not closing off, just coming up.
I brought 9 copies, looks like no one else brought copies. Pass them out or, no? I'll just need one for you. All right, hey, how's it going? Greg Alto, live in Mount Vernon, Skagit Highlands. I'm gonna read a letter I wrote. I am not as upset as the letter sounds, don't worry. But we had a little tree issue come up, okay. My name is Gregory Alto. I'm a resident of the Skagit Highlands community. Recently and ongoing, you have been sending in crews to our neighborhood to cut the roadside of the trees lining our streets. This is believed to be for emergency vehicle and garbage truck access. Previously, the city had notified our community of the city's plan to take this action and asked us to trim our trees. I was one of the minority, hyper minority, that complied with that action. Trimming trees are very expensive, $700. The workers did a great job. They raised my trees up from the bottom, shortened, round at the top. Yesterday, February 11th, I came home to view a horrendous, indiscriminate hack job on the roadside of all my trees. There was zero discretion used in choosing my trees. It appears the city workers were instructed to scorched earth the roadside of all trees in the neighborhood, and that's exactly what they did. A couple of my trees I fear may die, and the rest are an eyesore even if they do survive. So what I'm saying is that the people who didn't follow the order and actually trim their trees that they were supposed to look halfway decent. They got 35-foot trees with a little bit off the roadside. Mine were actually trimmed. It looks horrendous if they even survive. Tree trimming is an art and a science that affects the tree for years to follow. Each cut triggers specific growth hormones depending on the cut, like how close it was to the trunk or main branch, the direction, angle, etc. It affects the hormones when they're released, and if another branch replaces the one that was removed, etc. I'm here tonight to ask you all what city department I should send the bill for my tree trimming to be reimbursed. This will help assist the offset of the trees of mine you killed when I'm the one responsible for replacing them down the line. Now I know this is not your department, you guys didn't come out and cut the trees, but on a grander level, I'm concerned about the fact that the only notification of this thing from my neighborhood that I know of was a Facebook group posting through the HOA. I mean, I feel like I have to replace the tree that you killed. I don't think it's that ridiculous that I would expect at least like a, not necessarily personal contact, but like a mail to my home or something. You know, all this information I found out after on the Facebook group. And initially I found out about trimming it from the Facebook group and actually complied with 5% of my neighbors or whatever. That's all.
On your letter, do you have your contact information so we can look into all the details of it?
Everything.
Okay, perfect.
You gonna take it? Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll definitely look into that and get back with you.
50 comments on the thread, probably 20 are like mine, so I'm not the only one, but not many. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Hi, I am Dawn Eidecker. I am a psychotherapist in private practice. The past 6.5 years in Mount Vernon. My office is right above Calico Creations Cool Shop. I am also a member of the Skagit Behavioral Health group of therapists. So this is about parking. Mid-November, I placed a call with the mayor's office. I never got a call back. So a couple weeks ago, I met with Ellen Gampson, who used to have her office down the aisle from me, I guess, about 4 or 5 years ago. And back when she was in my building, she requested that we not park behind Strauss Jewelers so that we leave it open for customers. I complied with that for a while until it was very obvious other people were not doing it. Well, the parking problem was not anywhere near as bad as it is now. So I work long days and I leave late at night and I try to park behind Strauss Jewelers. Well, since the beauty school opened up, it's been a race to get there. And it used to be if you're not there by 10 in the morning, you're not getting those open spots behind Strauss Jewelers. The students get the first chance at them. So it is now to the point, if you're not there by 8:15, you are not parking in Strauss Jewelers. I park there because it's the closest to my office, and it's the 3-hour parking does not work for me. I see people 3, 4 in a row. That means my clients will be late. They're every hour. That's just not going to work. And plus the safety factor. As we all know, the crime has increased in 6.5 years that I've been in Mount Vernon. I'm hearing complaints from my clients, from other therapists I work with, other shop owners, to the point where they're considering not renewing their leases because of the parking problem. They've lost clients because they're not putting up with, the afternoon's horrible. There's no place to park, even the 3-hour. My clients know in the afternoon they have to come in at least 10 minutes early, and then they're still circling. And then maybe they can try to parallel park. They get nervous, and it's on those one-way streets, and they're blocking the traffic, and then they take off and they lose the spot. Okay. Also, I pay a considerable amount of money in B&O taxes a year, not to mention my city license. I don't think it should be a hassle for me to find a place to park that's open and free. I don't appreciate having to adjust my work schedule, which I have done in the last month, to where I'm coming in way earlier than I need to, so that I can have a safe place to park. Last Tuesday, not this week, last week, I decided to take a head count. And I got there at 7:30 in the morning. I sat in that parking lot behind Strauss Jewelers to get a good spot to see everybody. There was one girl waiting at 7:30 in that lot. She was a student. Another one was out towards the water. From 7:30 until 8:45, I got 60 students, definite, and 9 iffy. And the iffy were parked towards the bridge, and they were walking that way, so I don't know if they were going to the school or they weren't dressed like students, because it's very obvious they're students and they've got the equipment and stuff. So that's about 70 extra spots that are being taken. So I don't think it's they have an advantage over the business owners in that area that don't open up their businesses until 9, 9:30, 10 o'clock, and the employees, because they're starting school at 8:30. Also, I have been informed that there was supposed to be a transportation concurrency application under Municipal Code CH 14.10 through an engineering permit to assess the traffic that's coming in with the new business. I wonder if that was even done. So, and last but not least, where are the tulip people going to park? It is so busy in this town, even before the month of April. And then the Christmas shoppers and the Thursday evening wonderful concerts that they have. And then not to mention that beautiful revetment, people literally drive in there to eat lunch and walk their dogs and just take a walk, and some of them leave. There's not going to be parking for any of them. It's very frustrating, to say the least. Thank you.
Great. Any other community comments tonight before we move along? All right, seeing none, we will move along to item C, which is council member comments. Any council member comments this evening? Melissa?
One quick thing. Tax statements are out, and I'll use mine as an example. My taxes increased 23% from last year. And as I go over my tax statement, I just want to remind everyone, as I have to try to remind myself, there are 8 taxing districts on our tax statement. Where does the city of Mount Vernon fall for its services? I did my little percentages, and 16% of my overall tax bill goes to the city. Our tax rate is $2.1059, which is the lowest it's been in at least 15 years. And the overall rate for my taxes for the city is $1,092.33. I'm just like everybody else. I don't like to see taxes go up, but when I look at the tax that I pay for the city that I live in and the services that are provided, I think it's a pretty good deal. That's all I have to say.
Any other council member comments tonight? Okay, moving on to mayor's report. Just an announcement of our stormwater management program meeting. We are required by law to do a public presentation of our stormwater management program, and that will be Wednesday, March 11th, 2020 at 6 p.m. here at our police court campus. It'll be part of our public works committee that's regularly scheduled, so Wednesday the 11th, 2020 at 6 p.m. is our stormwater management program meeting and briefing. So that's it for mayor's report tonight. Item E is any committee agenda requests for council. Any committee agenda requests? All right, moving on, there is no unfinished business. Item A is an approval of an agreement with Skagit County. And Kim Kleppe had a family thing this evening, and so Doug Gillespie, our finance director, is going to present this particular agenda item. Doug.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. And I volunteered to do this for Kim, so.
He still owes you coffee or something.
So staff recommends that council authorize the mayor to renew an agreement with Skagit County for their fiber optic services. Skagit County has requested that Mount Vernon support their fiber optic services as long as it doesn't interfere with the priorities that Mount Vernon has and time allows and the work for both entities. This is a contract that the city has had with the county up to 2018 when it expired, and they just want to renew it again. It's a 3-year contract, and so this agreement will maintain an established working relationship with the Skagit County for the use of the fiber services. So staff's just recommending that council approve the mayor to renew this agreement.
All right, any questions for Doug on this particular item?
I'd move that city authorize, or that the council authorize mayor to enter into the agreement with Skagit County for fiber services.
Second.
Motion by Mark and a second by Gary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. Item B tonight is the amendment to the parking ordinance. Peter Donovan, our project development manager, is here to present. Peter.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. The streets of downtown Mount Vernon, as well as the neighborhood to the south of downtown area, have for the most part been designated as 3-hour parking zones between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. And that's been to accommodate for the traffic flow and the parking needs of business owners and employees and customers as well. For some reason, the 100 block of West Broadway was left off of that list of streets, and I don't know if that was an oversight or that was before my time, but there was a small section there within the neighborhood that was just left off. Staff have recognized a need to include the north and south sides of that 100 block of West Broadway, which is South 3rd Street to the tracks, within that same 3-hour parking provision as the rest of the street, as the rest of the area, the downtown core. So staff is recommending tonight council approve an ordinance to amend the city's parking code, Mount Vernon Municipal Code 10.20 1.093, making the north and south sides of West Broadway a 3-hour parking zone and creating consistency within that code.
Right. Any questions for Peter on this particular item? It is an ordinance, so that would be an ordinance number 3803.
Just confirming that it's between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m.
Yes, just between those hours. Shopping hours.
And are we
business
good, are we good to go on, are there any other ones at all that we need to?
hours. None that have been reviewed for the code. I mean, when you look at the map and the areas with restricted parking, that was the one glaring spot.
Okay.
I've had a number of folks that have contacted me about that area and the inability to park there. So this is really bringing everything into a line with the rest of the city, and I would move the approval of ordinance 3803.
I'll second.
Motion by Mark and a second by Maren. I think I saw Richard's hand. So go
Thank
ahead.
you. I appreciate the work Peter's done to really look into this and brief us all and help answer some questions. I realize that the time is consistent with the other times, and so that's good. And I certainly don't want to be, punitive of the folks who are there, but being consistent and respectful of the business owners and clients who are there that are visiting them is really important. And the reality is that this would essentially not allow people to park there for 24 hours at a time. They'd not be able to park there 3 hours after 6 and 3 hours before 6. So there's a 6-hour time slot from 9 to 3 that people would have to make room for other folks. So I think it's a good balance. It's definitely something I know we've all thought about a bit. I certainly have, and unfortunate that we're in this situation with people who don't have places to be, but it seems like this is a pretty balanced and reasonable approach. So I just wanted to put that on the record, and thank you for spending some time and thinking about the implications of it.
Any other questions or comments? All right, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Peter. Item C is an approval of an agreement with Skagit Watershed Council, and Doug Vleski, our Finance Director, is here for this item.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Staff is requesting that council authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Skagit Watershed Council for the receipt of the budgeted 2020 lodging tax funds. During the 2020 budget process, the Skagit Watershed Council applied and was awarded $1,500 from the Tourism Promotion Fund. Per RCW, Councilmember Brock Smith has a remote interest in this agreement as an employee of Skagit Watershed Council. A remote interest still allows council to approve the contract following the procedures set forth in statute. Pursuant to this RCW, the agreement must be approved by the council after Councilmember Brock Smith discloses the extent of his interest, which shall be noted in the minutes and abstain from the vote of the agreement. So staff is requesting that council authorize the mayor to enter into this agreement with the Skagit Watershed Council.
Okay. Any questions for Doug on this? Go
Well,
ahead.
and cueing me, so I am the executive director of the Skagit Watershed Council, and we were encouraged to put in a request for funds to promote Illuminite. First and foremost, I'm going to abstain from this and certainly not going to promote it, and happy and good with whatever decisions are made by my esteemed colleagues. So that's first and foremost. So I just wanted to get that out there. I'm on a fixed salary. None of this goes to any of my salary. This impartial thing, but whatever works for my colleagues.
Thank you. All right, any questions for Doug on this particular item?
I'll make a motion to council authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement with Skagit Watershed Council.
All right.
Second.
Motion by Melissa and a second by Iris. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item D tonight is an approval with of an agreement with Skagit County, and where's Blaine? Blaine Chesterfield is here, our engineering manager, to present this particular item. Blaine.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. Yes, this is an amendment to the agreement that you guys approved in August 14th, I do believe. The staff recommends the city council authorize the mayor to sign the amendment to the interlocal cooperative agreement and temporary construction easement with the Skagit County, which allows for the design and construction of the Maddox Creek culvert removal and stream enhancement project. The city's contributions of funds will be in the amount of $75,000. That was previously approved portion, and a 15% total project cost capped at $90,130 is also part of the amendment. That's the amendment part. Probably the biggest part is the $90,130 is what the county's asking for, because they just have some concerns that the bid may go over the engineer's estimate, and that would make them feel like that we have some room in case that happens. So that money is not to be spent unless we go over the estimate. We're only locked into the $75,000 unless it goes over the engineer's estimate, and then it would be 50% the county and 50% us to whatever the cost would be, up to the $90,000. Then would be capped at that. The culvert, just to give the folks the background, the culvert was installed in the 70s. It's currently a fish barrier. Removal of the culvert will open up approximately 2 miles of stream for fish habitat along Maddox Creek. The culvert is located on county unopened right-of-way and city property, Bonnie Ray Park to be more specific. The Department of Ecology Centennial Grant is paying for up to 75% of the estimated costs. So that's pretty much all I have, unless there's any questions.
Okay, questions? Go ahead, Mark.
So Blaine, we budgeted the original amount of money in the 2020 budget, so we're looking at what, another 15,000? Or 90,000?
90,000.
So we're looking at another 90,000, and where do we propose that 90,000 will come from out of our city
From the
budget?
stormwater utility fund, yeah. There would have to likely have to be a budget amendment. Doug maybe could speak to that, but I think that would be the case.
So there's adequate funding in there to do that?
Yes, there is.
Doug's shaking his head no back there.
Tough crowd.
Okay. Any other questions for Blaine on this item? All right.
I'll make a
Pleasure.
motion. I'd like to move to sign the interlocal cooperative agreement amendment with Skagit County.
Second.
Motion by Mary, we'll give a second to Gary this time. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Blaine.
Thank you.
It's nice to see that project actually happening, so that's great. Item E is the acceptance of the project completion for their Kulshan Pump Station Bar Rehabilitation. Bill Bullock is here to present. Hi, Bill.
Good evening, Council. Yeah, this is a pretty simple matter of project acceptance for completion of our bar screen. Pump station bar screen. It's actually kind of a really cool device if you ever get a chance to see them tested. It's actually gone through one real successful storm survival of improving of it. So that's pretty significant. Basically what it does is it keeps the screen clear of debris, of sticks, leaves, whatever going into our pump station. And as that screen fills up, this reaches 14 feet down with a hydraulic mechanical rake that brings it back up so that we can dispose of it after the storm. So it's been a very successful project, and this is just simply asking for a motion for acceptance of the project now that it's complete.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Bill on this?
I would move that council approve the work done for the Kulshan Pump Station.
Second.
Motion by Mark and a second by Mary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Item F is an acceptance of a project completion for our Bakerview Park Entrance Road Improvements Project, and Bill King, our Parks and Enrichment Director, is here. Hi, Bill.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Staff recommends Council authorize the Mayor to accept the work completed by P&W Civil Incorporated on the Bakerview Park Entrance Road Improvements Project. P&W Civil Incorporated has completed the Bakerview Park Entrance Road Improvement Project, and the project included spot and pothole repair of existing asphalt, installation of new curb, gutter, and sidewalk, new catch basin, a replacement of speed bumps, and an overlay of the entrance roadway. The project was awarded on August 14th, 2019 for $228,784. Project completion was achieved on October 28th, 2019. In accordance with the plans and specification, and the final adjusted contract amount was $241,195. Staff recommends accepting the work performed by PNW Civil for the Bakerview Park Entrance Road Improvement Project.
All right, any questions for Bill on this?
I just want to say that it's in my neighborhood, and it's a great addition to that park and to our park system as a whole.
Yeah.
So on that, I'll make a motion that council authorize the mayor to accept the work completed by PNW Civil, Inc.
Thank you. Motion by Melissa and a second by Iris. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Item G is an approval of agreements for Forestland response and fire equipment assistance. And since our fire chief is out this evening, we have Brian Harris, our assistant fire chief. Brian.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Before you tonight is a renewal of what used to be one contract by Department of Natural Resources, which has now been separated into two. The first of which is Forestland Response Agreement. Basically, this is an agreement that we have with Department of Natural Resources to be able to deploy our fire department assets to fight any adjacent to forestland fires. This just allows us to do that. And there's a set of deliverables in which and how they reimburse us for the use of our apparatus and personnel to make that happen. What they did do is separate out the federal expense personal property agreement in that original document. So instead of one, we have two. And basically that is an agreement and a contract that allows us to loan equipment from the federal government that's basically been surplused.
Okay. Any questions for Brian on this?
Anybody?
Anyone?
I'd like to move to accept the interlocal agreement for Forestland response and fire equipment assistance.
Second.
All right, motion by Mary and a second by Mark.
What's that?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Good evening, thank you.
I have no idea what that was. It sounded like a copy of that. Okay. All right, that completes our regularly scheduled agenda items. Ask our city attorney if there's a need for an executive session this evening.
No.
With that, we'll be adjourned at 7:44.